This is Astronomical Revelations with Lenny Ravitz. And it's Sunday, and it's a perfect day to just talk a little bit about the tiny, tiny, small subject of reincarnation. Reincarnation, the rebirth of the self, the soul, the circular process of life and death. The thing that in theological thought has been visited for thousands of years. And even to some degree in the Christian evangelical world, the topic of reincarnation is broached. Now, of course, most people in America know because they've been to church or something like that, and they understand the Christian worldview when it comes to reincarnation is more along the lines of a heaven-hell sort of thing. So instead of being reinvented in an extremely similar way back on Earth, back into the same self, with the same soul, you ascend, and we know that as heaven, and most people are familiar with that with the Christian worldview. So that shouldn't be anything new. When it comes to Eastern religions, Hinduism, Buddhism, Shinto, Zoroastrianism, some older pagan religions, reincarnation is a much more common theme. And it's the cycle and circle of nature is much more incorporated into the human self than in Christianity. And then you could argue in Islam and Judaism, there's more similarity, but with some key differences than Western religions, Eastern religions, reincarnation. But they all have some version of it. Some are, again, closer to the self, the cycle, the circle of nature, and some are not. But this talk, and this is key, this talk that Lenny Ravitz, is doing right now for you, for your own knowledge, for your own well-being, you would probably put it in the category of a secular talk about reincarnation. I am not preaching. I am not competing against any religious worldview. Not against Christian worldview, not against the Hindu worldview. I am not competing against any of those. Okay, I am speaking in a objective and truthful. Yeah, I'm not saying religions aren't truthful, but I'm speaking in a very objective, factual way about what reincarnation is. Okay. So really, if you were to try to mix and match this with your morning prayer or your reading of the gospel, or maybe your reading of the Gita, or Hindu Vedas, or the Quran, or anything like that, then I wouldn't recommend that's what you do. Okay, this is a secular talk about reincarnation. So, with that lengthy introduction, just a little bit about what reincarnation is and what you should expect and what you should, I guess, believe. Although, again, not believe in that religious way, but in a more straight way, a more sort of objective way. And I'm not saying don't have any emotional attachment to it or anything like that. Not at all. I want you to have an emotional attachment to the truth. And that's what this is. Okay? This isn't a semantic exercise. So, like I said with reincarnation, again, it's not a new thing. It's been discussed in humanity for now thousands of years. People have been discussing and thinking about reincarnation for a really long time. And so that right there, if you're a skeptic, that should sort of be at least one big piece of evidence to tell you that there is a lot to reincarnation. And there's, just listen to more because you'll see why. And what I'm going to say here, foreshadowing, is reincarnation is absolutely true, real, and it happens and will happen. It is a thing, okay? Not like gravity, which you may have listened to my last talk. Gravity is not a thing. Reincarnation very much is a thing. Now, two big categories of reincarnation, or ways to think about it: planetary reincarnation and personal reincarnation. And or you could think of it as the big picture and the small picture, the personal versus the universal. Sometimes I start with the planetary, personal. This time I want to start with the personal. So this is how you can expect to perceive reality, experience reality, experience university, based on reincarnation. And that is, and this is the most important point about it, is that you can never experience, nor have you ever experienced, your own lack of consciousness. Okay? Your own death, which is the ultimate lack of consciousness. But you haven't experienced a really, really, really deep sleep. And if you have experienced a really deep sleep, it's over to you almost instantaneously. The deeper the sleep, the quicker you perceive it to be. And the lighter the sleep, while time also is quicker, it may not be as quick as a very deep sleep. Being unconscious for some other reason, in particular, drug-induced unconsciousness, okay? I would say most people in their lives will have had at least one surgery or procedure with which that they needed to go under, and they were anesthetized, okay? And when you're anesthetized like that, often you get a deeper sleep than you've ever gotten in just a natural sleep setting, in your delta wave deep sleep. If you're in surgery for 5 hours and you're anesthetized with propofol or something like that, and you go into a very deep sleep for 5 hours, the most commonly reported experience from that is that it felt like 2 seconds. It felt like I was in the operating room and they were counting down from 10, and I woke up